Hello, it's Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva, and this is Up or Out, your business radio with an edge. I am so excited today. I have a guest. I actually seen this guest do a presentation years ago when I was still CEO at the Girl Scouts, and I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet, but back then, I mean, we're talking over 10 years, and maybe a little bit longer. I'm not going to go into really years, but I was blown away then. And when I heard that he was going to be on Up or Out with Connie, I was even more blown away knowing that he was going to be here because he's done let's say he's done some things that many of us would only dare to do. And so much that he has given back to society with all that he has done. But before we go there, let me give our quote for today, which is the aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but the inward significance. So represent that inward significance of things. And I have to say, this past month has just flown by because I've been so busy between speaking and the books and the launch and the C-Suite Network launch and the C-Suite Hero Club launch and the C-Suite. We could just go on and on and on about the Advisor Club. There's so much going on, but this past week is really why I do it, because I got to spend a week with the Future Business Leaders of America right here in Sacramento, California. And let me tell you, talk about our future business leaders. We are in for a treat because they're kids. They're high schoolers, they're Phi Beta Kappas, they're the smarts of the smart, but they're still kids. And they blew me away like nothing else. Our top speaker was a 14-year-old middle school level girl. Blew me. I had goosebumps. I have them right now just thinking about it. And now they're going to go on to national competition. But just the level of expertise and their knowledge, it's incredible. It is really, really incredible. So this quote, the piece about representing the outward appearance of things isn't as significant as an inward and what you bring forward and those skills that you bring forward. So we do need to take a really quick sponsor break before I get a little bit more emotional over this event, because I did. And we'll be right back, and then I'll be introducing you to today's guest. And we're back, and you're listening to Up or Out with Connie, and it's time to turn up the volume because we have an exciting guest that I'm going to introduce to you, because I mean, this is not so much more I can say about it, except he is a socioeconomist, CEO of the Landmark Research Group. He has a focus in human and organizational systems. He's a volunteer. He has consulted on crash sites during Hurricane Katrina, the World Trade Center, nuclear testing, and so many more other tragedies, including even the John Bonet and O.J. Simpson cases. I want to welcome to the show Dr. Randall Bell.
Connie, it's great to be here.
Thanks for being here. I mean, the things that you have done and going into these test sites and, consulting and helping people. And I mean, where do you get that drive, and where does that come from to reach out and help other people?
I really think it goes back to my dad. My dad worked for Fender Guitars in Fullerton, California. My dad was the kind of guy who would help anybody in any situation. I learned from his example, and with my skill set that I just happened to wander into, I like helping people. These situations are very, very tough. They're very, very real. They're very raw. People are not interested in sugar-coated theories and junk science to, turn it around. They need real solutions. I'm happy to say I've gotten billions of dollars to my clients, and I just enjoy doing it.
Now, I used to work next to a woman, especially after 9/11 and the flight outside of Pennsylvania, because I actually was living in Pennsylvania at the time in the Poconos. And she came back with such incredible stories of being there and the site and even the aftermath of people that needed that help, that therapy, that struggle just to overcome what they've seen. Is that part of how you were able to reach out and help with some of these individuals?
Well, I'm not there so much at these tragedies, in the immediate aftermath. That's
Okay.
kind of the first responders' roles,
And
and
that's
I'm
where
not
Steve
up.
was.
Yeah, I'm not a first
Mhm.
responder. Although I've met with a lot of them, but my role comes a little later as the legal claims or the insurance claims come along, and essentially courts don't issue apologies, they don't issue hugs, they issue dollars. That's all they issue. So
Okay.
it really comes down to the economics. But I also got to know the people behind the headlines, and that's where I've really put together a lot of the principles that I've, put in the book, about how to rebuild in the aftermath of a problem.
Okay, okay. So then, I mean, so you take the aftermath of the problem, and you're able to take them and turn them around. So I know you have a habits, a set of 4 habits, the 4 cornerstones: the me, we, do, and be. So
Yeah,
what's more about those?
yeah, I do. I'll use my little visual aid here.
No, go for it. Nice book.
Yeah, me is our mindset. It's everything we're thinking about. It's
Hmm.
our attitudes. It's what we know intellectually. It's what we feel spiritually. It's everything that makes us me is in this cornerstone. We is our relationships. It's our connections with other people. Do in economics, we say do is land, labor, and capital, but we'll make it a little simpler, at least for people like me. And it's taking care of our money, taking care of our environment, taking care of our health, our products and services,
Okay.
being productive. And then B is what makes us uniquely human, Connie. It's really our game plan for moving forward and progressing.
So this is good for life of an organization, but also as the
Exactly.
individual
You can
themselves
use
as
this
well.
framework both as an individual and also in an organizational behavior type setting. You're absolutely right.
So give me an example of how you would go through that process in an organization.
Well, when I worked on the World Trade Center, I used me, we, do, be. In fact, if you look at any history's great achievers, they use the same formula. But getting back to the World Trade Center, me is when I got the call to work on that, obviously a very serious situation.
Mm.
I did my homework. I read everything I could. I studied it. Before my meetings, I went and met with people and just absorbed what I could. I visited the site. We is our relationship with other people. So the we cornerstone was I was in a big boardroom. I was just part of a team. So it was important to be a team player and understand every other person on the team, who they were, what their roles and responsibilities were, so that we could work together effectively. The do cornerstone was basically, just getting out there and doing the work, being productive, and B was the vision for the future. I mean, literally, when I was in that boardroom, we had a vision for the future with the Freedom Tower. It's just being sketched out. It was all conceptual at that time, but it was a vision for the future. And since those meetings, it's all actually happened.
Wow. So going back, I mean, to people's behaviors, the habits. I mean, I talk about patterns a lot, and how people could have pattern transformation when they understand. But you also talk about habits, and I think a little bit in the same perspective. But you're saying that you've identified 46 habits that are really and scientifically, and they correlate to the success of an organization, of that person.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's behavioral modification. And you mentioned earlier that I do a lot of volunteer work. I was just speaking a week or two ago with homeless kids on Skid Row in LA, and I've been volunteering for years here in Laguna Beach, where I live at the homeless shelter.
yeah.
And whether we're talking about homeless people or battered women I volunteered with, or at-risk teens, I spoke at a high school last week, or CEOs or executives. I have clients that are billionaires. It's the same thing. Me, we, do, be. They're the little habits, Connie, that we can do in each of these 4 areas that
Mhm.
really have measurable, results over time. So for a quick example, the me cornerstone would be, again, developing our minds. So reading is very, very essential.
Mhm.
Listening to intelligent podcasts is essential. Meditation, prayer, nature walks, all of those things can build the me cornerstone. And
Okay.
the book is riddled with lots of these little habits. They're all been statistically validated. They're not
Mhm.
just anecdotal. There's real research that
Right.
correlates these daily habits with measurable results.
Okay. So how would someone, so you were, let me back up. So are you working specifically with organizations, and what type of organizations? And then how would you work with the people in that organizations to help them turn around to see and understand these 46 habits, where they can turn that into the success of the individual and also the success of the organization?
Yeah, I mean, I work with government right now. I'm under contract with the federal government. I've done work for Canadian government. I've done work all over the world, and then I do a lot of volunteer work. But in an organizational setting, basically, what I do is kind of look at the landscape and see what needs to be done. But what's really important, Connie, is that there are 46 or so different habits I've developed so far that I haven't developed, but I've researched. And the important thing is not to try and do them all at once. You just pick one, and there's what we call a rich habit ripple. You just pick one habit and one of your weakest cornerstone, whether it be me, we, do, or be. You pick your weakest one, and then you just do something small, and it will naturally ripple out. For example, my son, he just said, Dad, you got to start lifting weights with me. So we went and bought some weights. We committed to each other to just do 1 rep a day. But now we're doing 50. But the commitment's only to do 1. So no matter how tired we are, or exhausted, or distracted, we can do 1. But we often do a lot more than that. But our only commitment's small.
That's interesting because I'm on the board with the Future Business Leaders of America, and part of our conversation this week during the conference was, we're there, we want to bite off the whole apple. And, and I made, shared with the Big Brothers Big Sisters, or no, the Boys and Girls Club, where they help one person a day. And a lot about what you're saying, lift one weight a day, that they help one person a day. So we really need to change that, where we're helping one of these students per day. And then with that, we're going to have the ripple, and then that's when we're going to have longer term. And it was so funny because it wasn't just a matter of minutes where we had one of the kids come in, and they, there was a situation, and he didn't know if he was going to compete, and and then we're really about leadership and not just competition. And he literally put himself in a leadership role to allow this other younger individual to be able to compete in competition. And I walked away saying, we helped our one today. And, it was just a really good feeling to know that, we helped one of those individuals, find a true leader in themselves, and they were able to help somebody else in need. So
yeah, very well said. I call what you talked about the power of one. I wrote the book 1 page at a time. You read a book 1 page at a time.
Right.
You get healthy. You lose weight 1 calorie at a time. Just to break it down into 1, and it has a tremendous effect.
And it makes it so much easier too when you realize, especially the weight thing, because we're always trying to lose weight. And it's like, okay, if I could just lose 1 pound this week, it makes it a lot easier. And then, hey, if I only have to do 1 rep today, I'm even better.
Yeah.
Because I skipped a gym today. I got in so late last night, and I was just like, I'm going to bed. And this morning, when the alarm went off for the gym, because I work out with a personal trainer, I was like, no, not today. This is not going to happen. Well, we need to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be putting you in the hot seat. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back, and you're listening to WCONNIE, Up or Out with Connie, and it is time for the hot seat. This is our final 10 minutes of the show where we ask our guests 10 questions to learn. We just learned about the man and the business. Now we're going to learn about the man and who he is besides lifting 1 rep a day. So are you ready, Dr. Randall Bell?
I'm ready, Connie.
All right. So here we go. So what advice would you give to your younger self?
What advice do I give myself?
Yeah.
It's basically practice what I preach. The reality is that we're never, like when I'm in a courtroom, I'm not smarter than the jury. They're smarter than me. You just have to respect. Always be teachable. And I always constantly try and remain teachable and respectful of other people and what I have to learn from them.
Great. Do you have a favorite success quote?
I've got so many. I heard one yesterday that I really liked. Sorry, I can't attribute it to the right person, but it's basically if you take care of your inside, the outside will take care of itself. I really like that one.
Oh, I love that one. It has a little bit to do with what we started with from Aristotle. The significance comes from insight.
Right,
Love that.
exactly.
So did you know what you wanted to do right from the very beginning?
No, I didn't. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, but when I realized I couldn't tell the difference between a cell or a atom, I realized that they're just both very small. But and then I wanted to be a real estate developer. Kind of went all over the place, and then finally it kind of clicked about 25 years ago. But for me, fortunately, it did click.
Good, good. Well, I'm glad it did too. I'm glad it did too. I mean, your research is just phenomenal. Love what you've done.
Thanks.
So as you said, I mean, we don't always know what we want to do from the start, but we're testing along the way. And along the way, of course, there are also failures. So what's one of your most monumental failures?
Oh, gee, there's so many. You know, I'll tell you, when I left college, a buddy and I started a company up in Silicon Valley when technology was taking off. At the age of 25, I had a net worth of $20 million from this company we started, and we lost it all. So that, I had a big failure right off the bat, and I've had several since then. But the reality, I call it post-traumatic thriving in the book. It's basically little principles that keep us going forward in a positive way. But yeah, I've had lots of failures.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, we all do. And as they say, if you don't fail, you don't succeed.
Nicely said. Yeah.
So what was one of your best successes?
I think my best success is I'm happily married and I have 4 great kids that I really love. I also the book I've been it's failed several times. I've taken a lot of shots at it for years, but it finally just launched a couple weeks ago and it's been doing great. That's been really satisfying, and I think the volunteer work. I get more of a buzz from helping a homeless kid see the world in a new way than I do sitting down with a multimillionaire client and getting them a few more $1 million. I mean, that's all good, but seeing someone who's really having a challenge in life and helping them a little bit, that brings a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah, it definitely does, for sure. So who is the one, and I think you said a little bit of it, who's the one that keeps you motivated, that really keeps you going, gets you up every morning?
Well, I'd say my wife and my kids, keep me going because, I love them so much. We have so much fun. Friday we're all going to London together. I do everything for my kids, but I'm quick to, teach them how to volunteer too. In fact, I took the whole family to the homeless shelter on Skid Row a couple weeks ago. So it's all kind of intertwined.
Yeah, I always kept the family involved as they were growing up. Now they're sort of scattered, and we actually have a whole family trip for Hawaii coming up too.
Oh, good for you.
Everybody's going. Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you recall, what was that aha moment when you said, I really got this?
Connie, that's a great question. I was in the pool of my house about, 20, 30 years ago. And I had been accepted into law school. I had a career, but I wanted to go to law school. And my next day, Monday, starting law school. And I was sitting there floating on a raft with my little 1-year-old son. And I was thinking, you know what? I don't think the world needs another lawyer. I got this idea about damage research and disasters, and taking my skill set and applying it to these disasters. I got so excited about it, and it was really, frankly, a very risky move because I had a home, I had a mortgage, I had a wife, I had our first kid, and I faxed. Back in those days, we didn't scan; we faxed.
Why you didn't fax?
I faxed my resignation to the law school and never looked back. It was a brilliant decision. It had a lot of risk, but really happy I did it.
Yeah, sometimes we have to take those risks. Sometimes we fall down, but you got to pick yourself right back up and keep going. So love to hear that. Now, one thing that we talk about is marketing. We talk about leadership, we talk about business. We also want to talk about marketing and social marketing, social media. So do you focus any of your digital marketing and, on the digital trends? I mean, where are you in that space? How are you marketing?
I'm kind of old school with marketing, and I'm really trying to catch up with a lot of the social media stuff.
You'll
And
never.
I've got some young millennials that work for me that try and get me going, but I'm not the one to ask that question to, because I'm still doing it myself.
Well, I don't know if we'll ever catch up. I really don't. Somebody had asked me actually at the conference this past week, they're like, "You're always on social media. How do you do it?" I said, "Call Gladys."
Well, I don't know if you want to share Gladys or not, but
Yeah.
I need help.
I know. Actually, my husband said that. Don't be telling everybody.
That's
So,
funny.
so if you knew then what you know now, what words of wisdom do you have for those entrepreneurs, those still trying to figure out what their path to success is?
I think my advice is to not get caught up in sugar-coated or counterfeit highs. I think we all need a buzz. In fact, when I teach the homeless people, I tell them, go get buzz, go get high. But there's counterfeit highs, digital drugs, the cell phones and all that, that gives you a shot of dopamine, and it's as addictive as cocaine. But you can get high from reading a good book, from taking a walk on the beach or by the lake or by the river. There's so many things out there that give us good, authentic highs. I would say, pursue whatever you're into, but avoid the counterfeit, sugar-coated highs and get authentic highs.
Love that. That's incredible. Well, that's all we have for today, Dr. Randall Bell, and I want to thank you for being here. You've been incredible. I think I'd love to have you back on. I'd like to really dig deeper into the habits and how people can transform and overcome some of those issues. But thanks for being here. You've been awesome.
Thanks, Connie. It's been a lot of fun. I love your show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. So before you do go, let our listeners know how they can reach out to you, how they can learn more about you.
Sure. I have a website, drbell.com, just DRBELL.com. The book, Me, We Do Be, is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere. And on the website, you can get in touch with me. I'm very accessible. I just got an email from a guy in Australia that just finished reading the book last night, and I love corresponding with people on this topic. Absolutely.
And that's what technology is serving us well, because we talk to people from all over the world, all over the globe, and I've had so many people on the show from places that I've never even heard of.
That's awesome.
So it's been great. But again, thank you for being here today. Thank you to everyone for listening. You are great. And because of you, our show continues to go to #1. And we are right here on the C-Suite Network and also on CBR Conscious Business Radio. And Dr. Bell, we do have the C-Suite Hero Club coming up in a few weeks right here in Los Angeles. And I'm going to be hosting that with our friend Jeffrey Hazlett. So you're going to be getting more information about that. Hope you could join us.
Oh, I plan on being there. Thanks.
Great. So again, and also to all you out there, if you want to hang out with us, it is coming up in June. I don't have all the specifics right now, but it's all about the Hero Club and how you can give back. A lot about what we were talking about today with Dr. Randall Bell. It's been great. It's been phenomenal. And I want to thank you all for being here. And I want to thank you for being the leader that you are. And if you figured it out, encourage others to do the same. Be sure to subscribe to our iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn pages, because you never want to miss any of the good stuff. It's been great being here with you today. Ask yourself, if you could do something different to get a different result, what would you be doing right now? This is Connie, your Unstoppable Diva, and you're listening to Up or Out with Connie. Until next time, be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable together.